This interview is disseminated on behalf of Rio Silver. Hey everyone, this is John Feneck with the Feneck Commodities Report, and with me today is Don Durrett, founder of goldstockdata.com, and my podcast partner. Don, how's it going?
Hey, we got our backgrounds, man. This is pretty cool.
It's the first time we've upgraded our backgrounds in a couple of years, so
Yeah, we got a real show now.
that's right. So Don, let's
Investor
just
TV.
jump. That's right. So, yeah, Investor TV is owned by Global One, and they do a lot of media work in our sector. So, Don, let's just jump into a couple of names here in the gold and silver space. There's a lot of news flying around. You saw today, 1911 Gold came out with their PEA. We had America's Gold and Silver, USAS, come out with really interesting antimony news. When we interviewed Paul a few months ago, he was talking up the fact that antimony wasn't part of his revenue stream, but now they've done a really interesting JV with another company to move that forward, and the stock really responded well. And we kicked off earnings, last week with Barrick, symbol B, and then Silver Corp today, or overnight, excuse me, SBM, really popped overnight, and then it just faded today. But we're seeing signs of shoots of greatness here in some of these stocks. What's your take on the beginning of earnings season and some of this news?
Yeah, Silvercorp had really, really good numbers. So they had free cash flow of, this was last quarter, and they had free cash flow over $90 million. And so that's going to improve this quarter. And they have $460 million in cash on their balance sheet. They're
Yeah.
generating 100 million a quarter, and they're trading like a 2-3 multiple. I mean, yeah, they had good earnings, good balance sheet. I wanted to talk a little bit about 1911's PEA real quickly because I think the market really didn't understand what they were seeing. So
Sure.
they have a market cap of $250 million, and they're going to be producing next year 58,000 ounces. And their current market cap is $250 million. And their ASIC was 1,800. So even if you have a break even of $3,000, right? If we have six, they get into production next year. If gold's at 6,000, gold goes up like we think it's going to. They have $3,000 margins. Takes their free cash flow to about what they're at today. They're 200 million in free cash flow. So they're going to be generating 100 to 200 million in free cash flow, and the stock sold off today 11%. It's like you don't what you this is a producer in Canada. So it prints as an eight bagger at $6,000 gold, but better yet, it prints as a 15 bagger at $6,500 gold if they expand production to 80,000 ounces, which I think they're definitely going to do. So you value it at 80,000 ounces at $6,500 gold. It prints a 15 bagger. Nobody wants to own this thing. It's unbelievable to me. We're in a bull market, and people are still treating these stocks as if gold's at $3,500. It's
Right.
I don't know if it's because I understand the valuations, but for this stock to sell off 11%, saying they're going to produce 58 million and the capex is $60 million. Now, with their market cap at 250 million, I think they can borrow the money. They don't have any debt. They can borrow 60 million. No dilution. And so I don't know. You look at these valuations, I mean, you look at Silver Corp, you look at the multiple, everybody say, I don't want to own that stock. I don't want to own, I mean, people are cherry picking here. It's mind-boggling to me how cheap these stocks are. I think they're absolutely going to when this thing finally turns. I think these stocks are going to absolutely rip. I really do.
Yeah. No, I think that's some really good insight there on 1911. I was surprised to see the magnitude of the sell-off myself because I know the company's been waiting to release this for months now. So when you're looking at a 1900 ASIC, it's a little on the high end versus the average in the industry, but it's not like you said. The jurisdiction in Canada is supreme, and you're looking at, production in the near term. Like this isn't 3 years out, people. Right? So like you don't sell stocks like this in a gold rally. If gold was at 3,000, 3,500, as Don pointed out, maybe you're trading stuff, but when gold's at 5,000 ish, you look at a report like this and saying, hey, our payback's going to be 1 to 2 years. I mean, this is awesome. So I agree
Six
with you.
months. It's the payback 6 months. It's 60
Okay,
million.
I thought they put in their bullet points like 1 year, but maybe they're being
Yeah.
overly conservative.
Well,
But
no, they weren't using 5,000 gold.
okay,
Yeah, they
okay,
don't do that, right? They're using $3,500 gold. It's 1 year
right,
at 3,500. But at five
right,
thousand
right.
dollar
So
gold, it's 6 month payoff. 6 months.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, I was just going off of the public release, but yeah, the ticker is AUMBF in the States and AUMB in Canada. Silver Corp, for those that are interested, is SVM. So Don, and I also managed to mention America's Gold and Silver, which is USAS and USA in Canada. Don, any other comments before we get started? I know earnings season is, just starting here really for Agnico, Newmont, and a lot of the big boys.
Yeah, we're in the interest of time. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to talk too much about this. But we're in a trading range here with silver from 70 to 90. We're dead smack right in the middle at 80 today. And if you look at the 4 hour chart for the last week, we're just, basically in this little channel here. So silver is either going to break down below 70 or break out above 90. And I think 70 will hold and then we'll break out above 90. And then we'll do kind of what Michael Oliver said. We'll go to a new all-time high in silver probably in March. So I'm
Yep,
bullish. The metals, any corrections are going to be short-lived, I think. Even if they push silver below 70, I don't think it'll last very long. And I think the next move is above 90, and above 90 is a new all-time high, and then people start getting excited again.
yep,
So
yeah. No,
I'm
I agree with you and Michael on that. I think we touched 63.99 on silver intraday for a nanosecond. I mean, so 64 to 70, right, is sort of your near term support level, which I think will hold. I mean, obviously, if that doesn't hold, we're in somewhat of a bit of trouble because you've got to retrace to 55 probably. But the bottom line is the trend is higher, as you pointed out, Don, and we talk about this literally every week on emails to clients. We are in a bull market. Like you have to buy dips, and I've been saying with us, for the last couple of years, these dips are getting much shorter. Like the most recent dip that is in most people's minds would be Liberation Day from last year, right? Last April. If you go previous to that, it's probably COVID for a lot of investors. COVID was 2 months. Liberation Day was a week. This sell-off in silver could have been a week. Like we don't know how this is going to turn out yet, right? But I mean, it is happening very quickly. It's scary for a lot of investors. I do understand that, but you have to look at, the macro here and say, what better backdrop does gold and silver have in history? Like this is unbelievable right now.
It is. Gold at $5,000, I think, is the story. Gold has went up from $2,000 in February 24 to 5,000. It's went up $1,500 a year for 2 years in a row. Up
Yeah,
$3,000 in 2 years. I think gold is the story. I think gold's going to continue to trend. People need to recognize why gold is trending. We're going to have a webinar to talk about that. That's going to be a fun conversation. But gold's going to trend higher, silver's going to follow, and I think as long as gold stays above 5,000, you're looking at gold, you're looking at silver getting above 90. And once it's above 90, we're off to the races again.
yep. Thanks for the insight, Don. And you just mentioned our webinar. We are going to be doing a webinar or two, you and I, sometime probably in March. Those dates haven't been announced yet, but we're going to price it very competitively so that people can actually join us. We're not trying to be elitist. We're trying to price this so that the average person can access some of our ideas. So investors, please stay tuned for that. We're going to have more information for you on our websites about that, fenneckconsulting.com. I'm not sure about goldstockdata.com, but we'll get information to you guys and post it in the show notes. With that, let's leave it there and bring on our guest, Chris Verrico from Rio Silver. Chris is CEO of the company, the ticker in Canada, RYO. The ticker in the US, RYOOF. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Great, John. Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing great. I mean, what couldn't be better, really.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we like to hear that. Someone positive from the mining sector, right?
Hard not to be lately, but it has many years of toil and trouble, and then here we are.
Yeah.
We're actually at a brighter point in time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important that people are more positive now because we have turned the corner. So, Chris, why don't you give us a 7 to 8 minute overview of Rio, and then we'll ask some questions.
Great. Yeah, yeah. Well, Rio Silver is, I mean, it's been around for quite a while, but we've reinvented the wheel sort of thing. We had some fantastic disseminated silver projects in Peru. We've vended those off. They have longer timelines typically. I mean, massive returns potentially. We think we got one of the best things in Peru. We've sold it out. One or two, you can see these things from the satellites. One out of two of these things becomes a mine. They're all been gone for 20 years now. So we've done a great deal on that. So that's going to a revenue stream for the company with a royalty stream, advanced royalty payments. And my background is contract mining, and we've actually finally got the tables turned to where we can add some serious value because the world likes to hear about production and production soon. So Rio Silver acquired a high-grade polymetallic silver dominant system. Silver is number one in the if you were to do an equivalent, it's 80% silver, 10% gold, and the rest would be base metals. It's a pure play silver as you're ever going to find in the geology of the world typically. So and I've known about this project for quite some time. It was held by some friends of ours. These actually now our partners. They have 10% of the company, and we share back offices in Peru. So we're surrounded by very competent people. Our partners also have a functioning toll mill in northern Peru. They know about milling. We know about concentrate sales. We know about metallurgy. They deal with a lot of metallurgy at that plant because they do other people's material. And so it's all about getting the recipe right and getting the maximum out of that rock, right? So, dollar for just trying to turn rock into dollars, and that's what we do. That's what our focus is going forward. Absolutely. The Rio Norte is a high-grade, silver-dominant pure play system with a very fast execution plan. I can demonstrate. We'll talk on that in a few moments, but how we can quickly get this to market and why we're perhaps a little bit different. All these mines in the past where we are in the Huachicolpa district, it's the richest silver district in Peru, the second largest exporter of silver in the world. And there's a basin there. It's probably 30 kilometers by 15 kilometers, and it's just an intense vein swarm. It's where the plumbing, and there's all the porphyry hunters are all around us, but it's the plumbing has been ripped open. This was a great typically a base metals basin, a lead zinc story. All these mines were lead zinc mines, the ones that were mined in the past. Our neighbors, Silver X, I know that you guys are great fans of Silver X, and Jose's been doing a fantastic job. But these were basically silver dominant projects, and they've been mined for 40 to 50 years. So not to say that there's not a ton of potential. Jose has proved that with the Silver X with their PEA, a recent PEA for a plant that's going to be sited like 2.5 kilometers from our plant portal. I mean, just around the corner. It's the same dominant vein system that we share, but there's a fundamental difference where these veins run off of the back of Silver X. They run the Tangana, Calca, more Lupo vein. There's like 3 or 4 dominant veins. They come across a big broad valley of the back, and there's a regional fault. And everything on our side of the valley, the far side of the valley, is typically base metals light, but precious metals rich. And it was an anomaly that didn't pay the bills 20 years ago. $5 silver or beyond that didn't work. Well, even $30, even $30 silver recently it makes it a stretch. Anyways, those were base metals dominant mines, and they were mining them for quite a while. So Jose's now Silver X is having to do all the expense of getting underneath that. They've done a great job spending a lot of money to get underneath those veins from the valley floor down. But where we are, we're at the valley floor up, and I call that's all low-hanging fruit from the valley floor to the top. That's anywhere you can see that with the ore, like we call it almost daylight ore, where anywhere you can advance on ore and you're not very far from daylight. That's all the easy mining, and we've got all that in front of us. These were silver gold dominated systems, and these structures are well known. The geology is well known in this basin. It's repeatable. It's all about metallurgy and execution. And so you can see these veins, you follow these veins from the valley floor up and over the mountain. You can see them for probably 600 or 700 feet in vertical relief. They're a kilometer deep or, half a mile. Typically, and what we've discovered so far, Silver X has got these things traced over 2.5 kilometers. And there's not any reason to think that they have a longevity. We just don't know what's beyond that. We haven't done, the work hasn't been done. But everything from the valley floor is up, and so we can quickly drive on ore. It's what Peruvians have done for hundreds of years. They don't waste money drilling holes. They don't waste money with studies. They drive on ore. We're always working in ore. Everything from the valley floor up, you're always in ore. So you're always making money as you put the principal access of down these veins. And everything above you becomes, that's your resource. You start to milk that down with all these draw points. So once we get this, we're going to put a principal drive. We're going to start that drive in late second, early third quarter. And we'll start that drive down this vein system. There was evidence of a drive above us. There's a large waste dump there, and it wasn't nothing. This was nothing recorded, but on that waste dump, our guys went in the 43-101. The guys sampled, 12 ounces, 12 and a half ounces silver and 2.2 grams of gold, because it all went over the bank. And they didn't pick the worst looking rocks, but that just proves the point that all that material wasn't economic. Those guys were looking for bonanza based metals. That's 30-40% combined lead zinc is what they need. They probably found it in a few instances, and they might have took a little bit out of it, but generally it wasn't of interest. And so that's why these things are intact, and that's the opportunity for us today. That's why this thing is available to us and our shareholders to enjoy the fruits of this today, and not 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So yeah, the vendors held this property for 18 years. They actually sold Silver X a big chunk of their Tangana unit, which so they had a contiguous unit to work on. It's what Silver X has been working on. And
Mhm.
they'll tell you that they didn't sell they didn't sell them the best part. But anyways, it was a holdout property. They weren't interested in selling it. I had Rio Silver had another project that we're joint ventures on. We sold them half interest in that project, and they owed us an advance royalty payment. So I said, "Come on, you guys, let's just do a deal on Rio Norte." And they said, "Okay." So we switched the advance royalty payments around, and we gave them 10% of the company, and we have no outgoing royalties on that project whatsoever. Everything's paid for. Everything we own is 100% paid for. Capital light is the whole theme going forward. We're going to use toll mills. There's two big mills not far from us. Silver X has got their mill. Endeavor Silver just bought Culper. They're just down they're right there in the other valley, 12 kilometers away. But in behind us, up on the Carretera Central, which is the spine of the Andes, there's 100 kilometers away. There's a school of mines. It's a big population up there. I think it's close to 1 million people up in the whole basin. They have metallurgists and engineers and good geologists. All these guys are available, and there's all these custom mills all along there, and they're all looking for feed. And it's just a cottage industry there. I mean, so we don't need to buy a mill right away. We might build a mill at some point. Our partners have one. We know we could do that internally. We have very little engineering. They've already done all that. If we care to put a mill in, and who knows what the future holds. But right now, that's absolutely not necessary. The grade of this rock that we're mining is significant enough that that's an insignificant factor, owning a mill or not owning a mill. So and there's lots of optionality for us going forward. So we
Okay.
plan, yeah. So that's kind of the nuts of it. We're going to drive on this high grade thing. It's the tremendously high grade rock. Some really stupid grades were even in the 43-101. The check when the geologist, the independent geologist checked did the check samples. Those grades were phenomenal. There was like $3,000-$4,000 plus rock. We're not suggesting it's all that way. We like to think that it's 10 ounces of silver and 2 grams of gold all day long, and it's the gold content on our side of the fault that makes this whole play exceptional. Why? So I mean,
Okay.
that's the thesis, guys, and that's what and we're all about getting it done, right? So, um, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Chris. I had two questions and a comment, and then I'll pass it over to Don. So the comment is, I've been a Silver X shareholder for quite a long time. That's AGXPF in the States, AGX in Canada. Um, that's one of the reasons I got interested in Rio is in mining it, the closology aspect. When I looked at a map on your website, I mean, you guys are very close to each other. You just said that the Silver X plant is 2.5 kilometers away. Did I get that right?
Their PEA plant, their proposed go forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just around the corner. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So the questions would be, you also mentioned capital light, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but Don and I are always looking out for the share structure on these companies, and your share structure looks really good right now. So am I to understand from your comment that you're trying to do things in a more mindful way so you're not going to dilute shareholders?
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't need big engineering firms. We don't. We don't need feasibility studies. Now we'll put out a feasibility here probably second quarter next year. As I said,
Okay.
once we're underground, we'll put in drill stations and we'll start from underground. We'll drill underneath us and away from us. We'll look for parallel vein systems. There's quite likely a very intense vein swarm here. We know there's four principal vein structures. We got them on surface. We've traced these things for like kilometers literally over the surface. But from underground, we can very economically drill these things because the distances are much less as opposed to coming from the surface, and drilling a 300-meter hole to get a meter intercept. We can drill a 20 or 30-meter hole from underground. So we'll put drill stations in off of this principal axis that we're going to build in mid-year. And then from there, we can fan drill underneath us. And that's where Silver X has had a bit of an advantage because the mine was opened up more. So they were able to get underground and were able to get drilling fast. And they went to work on putting a principal resource together. We're not quite so, we're a little handicapped in that regard. But in the other regard, all this whole structure is intact. So that's the good news. And that sort of daylight able mineral that's close to surface above the valley floor, that is the cream de la creme because that's all low cost operating. Otherwise, you got to start drilling down. So, anyways, we'll put a resource together. We'll start to do that work likely Q1 of 27 from underground. And the author of our report, he's a resource geologist as well. He did all the resource calculations for Silver Standard and dozens and dozens of others. He's well versed at that. We can quickly put these drill intercepts into a resource category in-house essentially at very low cost. So we're very efficient all the way around. The vendor of the project was Proven Metals, headed by Jeff Rita, another brilliant geologist. He was Hunter Dickinson trained, spent the last 31 or 2 or 3 years in Peru. These guys are all, so he's a big shareholder. So we're constantly getting advice and ideas. And so I'm surrounded by brilliant geologists. We've got 2 fantastic Peruvian geologists on staff. Those guys don't miss a beat. They're sort of mentors of ours as well. They're helping us out. We don't need a lot of expat or foreign help to do what we're doing. We're all Peruvian in Peru. Our guys that are working in our office don't even realize that Rio Silver difference from like Peruvian Metals, our partners. They just working for the group. There's always stuff going on in the group, and they don't really understand what we do in Canada. But our group is solid. So we have mining, milling, metallurgical talent. All this we have in house. And we got a $25 million company with a intact, a game changer of a vein structure. It's geology. It's metallurgy and it's vein density. We know those numbers are all high. And it's just a matter of execution here. And we're just the guys to get it done, move this thing forward, right? So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I have one more question, and then Don, you're only going to have a couple minutes, so I just want to get this out. You mentioned 10% of the people that sold you the project, or sorry, 10% is owned by the people that sold you the project, correct? And so, how much of the stock is held in management and insiders outside of that, to kind of avoid any type of take under, down the road?
well, absolutely. Well, our management used to be quite high. It's down, I think in around the 24 to 5% right now. It was down. Well, we got diluted out in our last financing, of course. But we actually have another strategic partner, well, I can't mention at this very moment in time, but very soon to announce. And that, I think, having though that pay, we also got some very big Peruvian investors. We have our geologists, taking their options down because they understand it, they get it. These are Peruvian guys. But anyway, so we have, but besides that, we have some big blocks that we've got very good control of.
Okay.
And one more soon to be surprised, the market announcement coming, and that we're takeover proof. I mean, it's because we're cognizant because as a little junior, you don't have a lot of somebody with a lot of money can come along and say, "I'm just taking you guys, just look out." And I think we can hold that off. I really believe we can. Yeah.
Okay.
in the short or till it's advantageous, of course, at some point. Who knows? But it's not yet.
Sure.
It's not. It's a ways out yet. So
Yeah. Understood. Okay. Thanks, Chris. Don, all yours.
oh
Hey,
boy,
Chris. Yeah, welcome to the show. I didn't get to
Don's
say
gonna
hi.
roll up. He's gonna take me apart now.
No, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to be nice. I don't have a lot of time either. So I'm all about value and I'm all about upside alpha. I don't care about the next 12 months. I don't invest for 12 months. I invest for, I speculate for big alpha, but your company has potential big alpha. So you have right now your fully diluted market cap is about 25 million US, which is kind of ridiculous because
Well, not fully diluted. That's sorry. I should note. Yeah, if we have a fully diluted, would it be what would that be? It'd be a higher number. It'd be 30. I guess it would be like 35 million.
I have used 65 million shares right now. So you have more than that?
No, it's 73. I think the number is on. Yeah, so 73.
Okay.
There were some
All right.
options. There were some options and things that got done, right? And
All right.
yeah,
Maybe 28 million US.
yeah,
But
something like that. Yeah,
what,
it's yeah, yeah.
so I always value silver miners at each 1 million ounces of production valued at $500 million. So if your all-in cost break even was $50, and I think you'll be able to stay under that for a while. At $100 silver, you're generating $50 an ounce in free cash flow. And so 1 million ounces is 50 million times 10 is 500 million. So I value, so you're currently at 30, and if you can get to 1 million ounces, if silver goes above 100 and stays there, your multiple might not go to 10, but it'll get close, 7, 8, 9, something like that, but it probably will get to 10. So you're worth 500 million if you can get to 1 million ounces and stay there. So that's really my question. When can you get to 1 million ounces and how long can you stay there?
Well, we can I mean, not realistically, it's not supported by PEA, but we believe in our heart of hearts that we can be at a 600,000 ounce run by by the year end 27. And then from there, you can, these things kind of double, then we're opening up more working spaces and with optionality, then we can, yeah, the million ounce run rate is not a real stretch, not with this package of rocks. And in fact, the number could be much higher given some time. It's all about opening up these working faces, different levels, different workspaces, and just
Right.
systematically building this out, which is,
It's
so
the Maria Norte is 900 acres. Is that correct?
no, I think it's smaller than that, Don. I think it's actually half that, isn't it? Before 50. Yeah, but I
Well,
mean, yeah,
how many hectares is it?
yeah, oh, heck, oh, you're talking acres. Sorry, my American friends. You're absolutely right, Don. 100% correct. Yes.
900 acres, right? Two
Yes,
and a
it is.
half.
Yeah.
So are you going to be able to, you said this basin's huge. So are you going to be able to add any more land in that basin, or you don't own any more properties in that basin?
There's some more available. We have a part of the Tangana West unit that SilverX likes to talk a lot about. We have 400 meters of strike plus some vein splays. And I'm not too sure about the ownership above and below us, but we have enough to start right away. And we could there's some smaller claims that we're dealing with. We're just dealing with the community right now. Once that's out of the way, we'll actually start talking to the individuals about tidying up that land package in around Tangana West. And to the other side of the project too, there's more ground there. There's definitely some veins that we need to work on. So we can improve the property package by 50% probably, but that would be about it. I think beyond that, we're at the limits of this sort of exposure that we're chasing after here. So
Right. And so if silver price is keeping going up, even if you're only producing 500,000 ounces a year, you're going to have a lot of free cash flow. So at that point, are you going to basically spend a lot of it on drilling on your property so you understand your property inside and out?
well, of course, the market's going to want to see that, right? Because the valuations, they're going to want to see some meat on the bone, right? So we'll have to be getting into that drilling and working on that. We'll be drilling everywhere we're working immediately, because it's not expensive for us to do that from underground. We'll step out and our permits are we can do a certain amount of surface drilling, but it's also difficult. It's topography as well. It's all about getting underground because we can actually put an underground drive in for the price of 2 to 3 drill holes. So it's very economical for us, and especially if you're driving on ore, then it's going to pay for itself. And We used to always say that when silver was 25 or $30 an ounce, but now you've got $80 silver. We can really do that bit of work, reduce dilution using our cash flow to develop projects, which was not easy to do when you had 25 or $30 silver, but it's a lot easier to do when you're at $80 silver. I mean,
Oh,
it changes everything, and that's never been available to us, right? So,
okay. My last question is share dilution. Is share dilution, and it's easy for you to raise money right now. If you want to raise it, you can raise 50% a year if you wanted to. I mean, it's a project like yours, easy peasy to raise money, which is very tempting, right? So, are you gonna, how aggressive are you guys going to be to raise money? Because I know your current cash balance is fairly low, and you're just like, hey, if we want to, we can raise 10 million bucks tomorrow if we want to. Do you guys want to? Do you want to dilute, or what exactly is your plans there?
no, no, no. We want to be able to responsibly deploy our capital, and absolutely not. I've no. We're not a lifestyle deal. It makes no hoot of difference to me. It's all about building, making a difference, right? Leaving a legacy, and absolutely, share dilution is top of mind. We it was pretty dilutive what we've done to this point. We didn't realize the markets were going to be this strong. We had no idea. We wanted to get across the line because we knew this project would carry the day. Of course, now the markets are drafting in, so now it's become a sort of a bonanza scenario, which wasn't always the case. But
Well,
absolutely no, we don't need to dilute. No, we will.
well,
There'll be maybe a bit of strategic work. But
as
yeah,
yeah, as an investor, I always think that a company like yours, if you dilute 5%, it's actually healthy. I mean, that does not harm shareholders, and it puts cash in your pocket. So doing a 5% is I don't have a problem with that. It's when you do the tens and the 15s and with full warrants that I don't like.
no, but there's enough warrants there that gives us $3.3 million Canadian. But that money will go a long, long way. I mean, that's all cash positive. We're still sitting with $1.3 million in the bank. Um, that money coming in and maybe a bit of a strategic alliance coming down the pipe here. We're set. We're not going to. We don't need any more money. We'll continue to do a little bit of IR and media work. We want to add value and optionality. If people don't know your story, they can't help you. But no, no, absolutely not. This is our creme de la creme, or whatever, and we want to do it properly. And we've been,
Yeah, I'm going to add you to my 10 bagger list. You look like a definitely potential 10 bagger if you can expand to 1 million a year. And for everything I've heard from you today, sounds like you're going to be able to achieve that.
absolutely, yeah. Well, there's no reason why we can't. It's just execution. We've got everything in play. Our cost structures are very reasonable. We're surrounded by brilliant people, and they've all done this before. We've never not gotten a community agreement. We've never not got a permit. All and as collectively as a group, we know how to run in Peru. We're very conservative. We're run very conservatively in Peru. I'm surrounded by fantastic people, and it's not at a high cost to the company. So there's absolutely no reason to say we're not going to get across the line and be the darling that everybody wants us to be. I think we have every
Awesome.
every ability to do that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Thanks for being on, Chris.
Okay, guys. Thank you, guys. Awesome.
Chris, thank you so much. And again, this was Chris Verrico with Rio Silver. We'll have the tickers in the show notes for everyone. Hey, Don, so we've got literally 1 minute here. Why don't you just give us your summary?
I mean, he pretty much said it all. I mean, they don't have much of a resource, but they have all these veins that they pretty much know where the veins are. They're very confident. They can they get in production this year about 500,000 ounces a year. At that point, they're going to be generating 10, 20, 30 million ounces a year in cash flow. That's a lot. They're not going to spend very much on capex. They're going to use toll milling. So, it's hard to really find red flags here. Everything he said, it's about execution. They have a lot of experience. It's in a great location, great infrastructure, great people. I have no problem with Peru. I don't like small gold mines, but I have no problem with small silver mines
Right.
because silver mines have huge leverage. I mean, this
Yes.
stock can easily be a 10 bagger. So
Yep.
I'll probably end up buying the stock. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm trying to figure out a way to say no because he's got a $30 million market cap. He's not going to spend very much money to get to 1 million ounces a year. Um, to me, it's just going to be about, how comfortable I feel about once they get to 1 million, can they grow from there? Are they going to be stuck at 1
Right.
million? Are they going to get to two? How long does it take them to get to two? So that's going to be the roll of the dice there.
Right.
But 5 to 10 bagger is definitely in play here for these guys.
Yep. Okay. Don, we'll leave it there. Thanks to all our listeners. I just wanted to mention again in the show notes today, you'll see that we'll have our U.S. conferences May 17th through 19 in Washington, D.C., May 20 through 22nd in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Rio Silver is going to be at both of those events. We're going to have some tremendous under the radar value stocks attending like Rio. And this is when you go for it, investors. You got to start attending some of these conferences. There's not many of them in the U.S. Some of them are already sold out. I know one in July and one in September that are sold out already. It's that kind of a market. So if you're interested, my email will be in the show notes. Feel free to email me, and we'll get you a registration form. And with that, thanks everyone. We appreciate the support.